Hi, welcome to What's the Book About? I'm your host Kevin. This is Second Fire by Moscow. This is the continuing story of Lona and Jack as the pair of time travelers teach the peaceful goddess worshippers the art of war. A little too well. So it's just a short time after the end of the first book, and the people that worship the goddess now know what battle and war is like. And this has split the camp. There are two factions. There's Hannah, who leads the hardline peaceniks, who believe love and peace will conquer all, and they shouldn't need to fight. They'll just open themselves up to the horsemen and everything will be fine. And then there's Anita, who, as the rape victim of the horsemen, is very much in charge of the war party. Do unto them before they do unto us. Now, the leaders of this town, the woman who speaks for the goddess and the man who speaks for the bull, get together, and they know what the cost of war will be, with a lot of dead people, and they try to think of ways to talk to the horsemen, to do something to end this before it ends in a war. And so Call, the man who speaks for the bull, decides to go visit the horsemen to try to open negotiations, to talk to them. But, well, the horsemen don't see the goddess worshippers as real people. They don't fight like them. They don't worship their strong god of the sun. And when Call goes to speak to them, it ends in the most horrible way imaginable. Call is tortured, then castrated, and left for dead. Okay, so that's the spoiler-free introduction. Be warned, from here on in, there may be a few spoilers. I'll try to keep it to a minimum. Castrate and near death, Jack managed to save Call, but by bringing him back to the town, it shatters the veneer of peace that had been there between the two factions. And with Call no longer being able to serve his functions as the speaker for the bull, Jack ends up taking his place, and the two factions end up having to be separated physically and splitting off from the town of Tall Oaks, and Lona has to go to the other towns to try to gather more support because the horsemen clans are coming together and it is war. And the book ends with the battle between the gathered horsemen clans and those people that Luna is able to pull together to train to be soldiers to fight them off. Okay, so what's good and bad about this book? Well, the politics of war is really well done, expertly handled. Neither side is presented as being absolutely right or absolutely wrong. Enough time is being given to the war party and the peace party that their viewpoints get to come across. There is anger and emotion that drive each character to take the position that they do, and the author spends enough time so that it feels truly genuine. Not just on the hero side, but on the villain side as well. The horsemen get more time in this novel than they did in previous, and it showcases more of their culture and more of their worldview. And by also including other towns on the goddess's side and more characters, it gives more depth and breadth that match the scale that this conflict deserves. Now, Anita and Hannah's conflict is done rather well, but sadly, Hannah's character is probably the biggest flaw in this particular novel. She's the only one that really required more depth, and it was lacking. She comes off as very shrill and flat when compared to even the horsemen are given more depth. So in the end, what is the book about? Declarations of war. Specifically, how and why they come about. See, there are internal conflicts and external conflicts and debates that go on when war ends up being declared, where two societies, two groups, both clash on this size of a scale. internally, it's debates like Hannah's and Anita's, as well as the horseman clannish debates that are shown here, that give you the reasons why people need or want or have to go to war. Now, the external debates are specifically when Carl tries to talk to the horsemen. And sadly, the first time that the two groups try to talk, only one side is willing to listen, the other side is not, and making war inevitable. It's only at the end that we get to see this talk again, and at the resolution of the big war battle, that we get to see the external debate end the war. The other thing that happens with this is that we also get to see the reasons why war gets declared. Specifically, we already know Anita's from the first book, why she wants it and why she ends up convincing the others that it's inevitable that they're going to have to go to war. But by getting to see the horsemen more in this particular novel, we get to see why they need to go to war, because they're actually running out of food for themselves and they have to push into it. And it's easier for them to discount these people as not being real people and that they could take what they want because they need it. Now, this whole thing is wrapped up in a really exciting adventure with a lot of depth and great pathos and emotion, and it's why I've got to give this particular book 4 out of 4 stars. Now, it's published by Ace Science Fiction under the author's pen name of Mike Moscow, but it is also available as an ebook under the author's real name of Mike Shepard. So there's no reason you can't go out and get it, read it, and enjoy. Till next time, have a good one.